I don't think boxers normally eat Wendy's chili.
Now you will mystify the night, dodging the blinking of an eye, testing the connection, pace away, on to tomorrow. Like a bloody storm, you're burning like a bloody soul. Mortal let it die, now the fires of fun are rising up again.
Hey, everybody know when that Wendy's chili is supposed to be hitting that food line? You know your boy gonna have to cop. I don't think boxers normally eat Wendy's chili. It was offered to me. So I think 200 calories of chili is not going to throw me off my big fight. That's what I consider. Dude, when that Wendy's chili hit that can, I'm like, dog. Like, what you gonna do is you go get an actual Wendy's chili, and then you make it in the can, and then you just do a test taste. Oh no, it's overseas. It's gonna take place in Europe. Let's see. How many calories in a small Wendy's chili? 170. A small Wendy's chili contains 16 grams of carbs, 12 grams of net carbs, 5 grams of fat, 15 grams of protein, and 170 calories. This is the small. The big one's 250. I know what Wendy's chili is. Here's a fun fact. Wendy's chili is approved for like weight loss recipients and shit like that. Do I get heartburn from chili? Nah. Honestly, I haven't had heartburn since I was a little kid. What happened to Mick? Well, Mick was Mooney, and he just kind of disappeared. They ended up like taking his channel down and shit, and he just kind of like walked away from it. The Green Book is, I'll give you a rundown what the Green Book's about. The Green Book is about two guys that travel through the Deep South during the Civil Rights era. And the reference in the movie of the Green Book is a book that was given to black travelers to let them know where to avoid. There's a thing called sundown towns where like you weren't allowed to be in town if you were black after dark, and there were places, hotels that wouldn't serve you or restaurants that wouldn't serve you. And the Green Book kind of like let you know where you could stay and where you couldn't stay during that time. It's a great movie though. It's a wonderful movie. Oh, it's way better than like, granted, don't get me wrong, Boo Bradley's a gangster, but To Kill a Mockingbird wasn't that good of a movie. Like, Green Book's a way better movie than Kill a Mockingbird. Dude, the Green Mile made me think that what's the old boy's name? Who played the prisoner in the Green Mile? Michael Clark Duncan. I thought Michael Clark Duncan was the biggest man alive, how they filmed him in that shit. Like when he's walking next to like Tom Hanks's character in that one scene where they're actually walking the Green Mile, and the motherfucker looked like he's 9 feet tall. You know, the size of a fucking barn. Yeah, he was a big dude, but he wasn't as big as they made him out to film. It's the way you film people. Like they do that with Jason all the time too. Like Jason Voorhees would always be like 6'4", but they do very low camera angles, so like you look like big and impressive because the angle makes you look bigger. Oh, somebody said No Country for Old Men. I think I get synonymous with that movie all the time because like I've always said this. No Country for Old Men has the best shot scene in cinema history in it. Yeah, the quarter flip scene at the gas station. There's no music. You don't know anything about either. You don't have to know anything about either character going into it. And it is captivating. Everything about it is perfectly acted. There's so many subtle hints in the background scene. You could show that scene to anybody, and they'll want to watch the rest of the movie. Quarter flip scene in No Country for Old Men is one of the, in my opinion, maybe the best scene in cinema history. I don't really watch superhero movies. I don't understand this. Like Bone Tomahawk is just one of those dark movies. Like rest in peace Sid Haig, which, you know, a lot of movies wasted Sid Haig. Magnificent horror movie actor. But fuck Bone Tomahawk. Braveheart's a good movie. I can't say it's not a good movie, but like Braveheart's a movie that glorifies William Wallace more so than the actual hero of the Scottish Revolution. What is my favorite TV show? Mystery Science Theater 3000. Here's a fun fact about the movie Four Brothers, Black Rose. It's actually a remake of a Western called The Sons of Katie Elder, a John Wayne film. My favorite Tarantino movie? Hold up. I always have a thought with this one, right? Like, the first thing you think about is the correct answer, but I don't think it is the correct answer, right? Because, like, the first thing that popped in my head was Death Proof. But I don't think Death Proof is my favorite Tarantino film. Like, and the second thing that popped in my head was Pulp Fiction, but I don't think Pulp Fiction is my favorite Tarantino film. I think it's Django Unchained. Like, I feel like Django Unchained or, like, The Hateful Eight, I can't not watch those films when they're on. Like if Death Proof was on TV, I can do with or without it. But if Hateful Eight or Django Unchained is on the TV, I have to watch it. Just have to watch it. I actually like the dentist, Dr. Schultz. Like Dr. Schultz is one of my favorite characters, and like, which is funny because he played a bad guy in like the Inglourious Bastards. But like to me, Inglourious Bastards was like ripping off like Sergio Leone scenes, left, right, and center. Like the movie opens with like a scene from The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, where you had a guy named Lee Van Cleef. He played a character named Angel Eyes, and he basically came and he like went to this man's house and started eating this man's breakfast and all this, and like it's pretty much almost scene for scene what he does to the French guy at the beginning of Inglourious Bastard. But like Tarantino makes good movies. I haven't seen Tarantino's last film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I have seen Peter Jackson's earlier work. Peter Jackson did a lot of low-budget horror movies and like horror comedies early on, and I've watched most of them. Like Dead Alive. Dead Alive is one of my favorite like horror comedy movies. Yeah, The Thing. I was about to mention The Thing. Like between The Shining, Space Odyssey 2001, and The Thing, those are, in my opinion, the three most talked about movies in cinema history. Like, I watched a man make a YouTube video that's an hour and 10 minutes long discussing the eyes of Child's character and McCready's character at the end. You know, it's like, that's how deep like people look into The Thing. The Thing is such a good fucking movie. Like, you've never seen John Carpenter's remake of The Thing from Another World? You got to. It's better than the original movie to begin with. I mean, like, it's technically a remake, but it's technically not. It just kind of like borrows the premise and does its own thing with it. Have I seen Fire in the Sky? I have not. You think the kennel scene is the wildest scene in that movie? I always thought like where Norris's like heart attack scene is the wildest scene in The Thing. Yeah, that Lemon's talking about it, the CPR scene. That's fucking crazy. Like, and it holds up so well because it's actual lore-wise, Childs wasn't the Thing, right? Like, people wanted to say like McCready gave Childs like a Molotov cocktail that was basically, you know, gasoline, and he drank it without thinking about it. Or like if somebody's eyes were like backlit and had like a shine to them, they weren't the Thing. Or maybe it was the other way around. But honestly, like, John Carpenter directed a video game sequel to The Thing, and neither McCready or Childs were the Thing. They were both human at the end of the movie, and that's canon. Fun fact about the flailing worms out of the dogs is actually the Thing trying to replicate heartworms. That's what the tentacles were about, because it tries to replicate every cell perfectly and got caught midway through. We're talking about the 1982 John Carpenter's The Thing. Like, John Carpenter did a lot of good movies. Like, John Carpenter's one of those people that don't get credit for it. Like, for example, like The Pit, like Fallout 3's The Pit is 100% Escape from New York. Like, even then, like, people make fun of like some of John Carpenter's movies, like Escape from LA. Escape from LA is fucking fire. If you thought Escape from LA sucked, you just don't like movies, right? Just don't like movies. Let's be honest here. Like Prince of Darkness, you know, what's another movie that people steal from all the time? Escape from New York. But he did another movie that people take from all the time. I liked vampires. I honestly did. I thought it was a little like vampires and like Ghosts of Mars were like some of Carpenter's weaker stuff. But like, take for example like Big Trouble in Little China. Hell, Mortal Kombat came from Big Trouble in Little China. Like the fucking game idea. How are you saying John Carpenter's overrated? Yeah, In the Mouth of Madness was good. Yeah, the Sam Neill movie. I think In the Mouth of Madness was better than Event Horizon. But like Event Horizon is one of those movies that video games steal from a lot of too. I just thought the whole like, you know, the ship going through a black hole and entering into hell was a dumb plot point. Good Will Hunting is probably the best Robin Williams movie. Trying to think. Like, that's the one I like the most. You might be right. I might think Good Will Hunting is Robin Williams at his best. But like my first thing I wanted to think about was like Aladdin. Because like Robin Williams was the voice of Genie in Aladdin. And like I think that's his most memorable role. I'm going to say something controversial. Predator 2 was better than Predator 1. And every film since Predator 2 kind of sucked. I agree with that too, Skeezy. Exorcist 3 is better than Exorcist 1. You can't tell me some, you know, fucking Paul Anderson movie is better than Predator 2. Predator 2 has so many fucking iconic scenes, from like when he fights, stands up to the Jamaican in the alleyway, or when he kills the Jamaican gang and like skins them and hangs them everywhere, or like, you know, the scene on top of the building where he's like holding the skull up, and then like you had Gary Busey fucking doing his prime Gary Busey being crazy as fuck. Yeah, Linda Blair was like, I liked the first Exorcist movie, but I never got on board with like being the scariest film of all time. It was one of those films that were like troubled people because a lot of people were like religious and it kind of pushed the boundaries because it came out in the fucking 70s, right? But Exorcist 3, that's such a better, it has the best jump scare in movie history anyway. Like, if you want to see the best jump scare in movie history, like, put Exorcist 3 jump scare in YouTube and watch it. Like, it'll get you, even if you're waiting for it. It'll get you. But it's got Brad Dourif, fucking amazing. George C. Scott, that's who it is. George C. Scott fucking killed it in The Exorcist 3. I've never seen Smile. I actually want to see Smile, but I have seen Barbarian. Dude, Barbarian was good as fuck until you've seen Barbarian was 10 out of 10 for like 70% of the movie, and then it drops to like a 3 out of 10 toward the end of the movie. Like, they did the front end of that movie so well, like with like the boy and the girl and like the hallway and the room. Like, it's like, oh my god, this is so good. They've set it up so perfectly. You know what my favorite Brad Dourif movie is? And you're gonna look at me dumb as fuck. It's Graveyard Shift. I think Brad Dourif's like exterminator character in Graveyard Shift, I 100% agree. Unbreakable was better Glass or Split. But Split was a good movie. I didn't like Glass. I would go so far and say, to me, like, Unbreakable is like one of the best superhero movies ever made. Because it's like a realistic take on what a superhero would be. Bill Skarsgård did a good job at it and Barbarian. The best M. Night Shyamalan movie. Would Unbreakable be that? I'm one of the few people that likes The Happening, so I know I'm in the minority there. I hated Signs. I liked Sixth Sense when I first seen it, but the more I watch it, the less I like it. I've always liked Unbreakable. The Village is the only movie I've ever walked out of the theater on. Like, I literally walked out of the theater on The Village. Well, Bruce Willis has taken the fucking Steven Seagal into the career acting course. Dude, Midsommar is a good movie. What part of Midsommar did you not like? I liked it better than Hereditary. What I was thinking. So you didn't get to the part where like the dude pissed on the tree, huh? Oh no, that's after that. Yeah, you were toward the end of the film there. The throwing themselves off the cliffs is at the very beginning of the movie, right? I think I've only seen it a couple times. I remember being so hyped for The Village. Like I used to, like, I was an M. Night Shyamalan fanboy when he first came out, and I'm like, fuck yeah. They had like the yellow flowers, and like you couldn't go into the woods, and they set this to be up like this town that's besieged by werewolves, like with the trailers and shit. And then they threw the okie dokie on you, boy. And like, I remember when I remember being so mad sitting halfway through that fucking movie. It's not a good twist in The Village though. Like, you see that shit coming a mile away. I'm not gonna give the twist away, but you see it coming. Favorite Rob Zombie film? Probably Devil's Rejects. Like, I would say House of a Thousand Corpses, but like, I only really like the Captain Spaulding section of House of a Thousand Corpses. Like, if they just took the Captain Spaulding section and like with like his like ride and everything and like stretched it out, that would have been a better movie than what they did when we went to the Firefly House. Favorite Trailer Park Boys character? J-Rock. In Bill Skarsgård being in the Crow reboot? Let's just be grateful that Alec Baldwin's not going to be in the Crow reboot, because Alec Baldwin already did the Crow already. For those you don't know, Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee, was the original Crow, and he was shot in the face with a blank right toward the end of the film. And they had to like make certain scenes of the film to actually release the film. And pretty much Heath Ledger's Joker character is Brandon Lee's the Crow. Like the whole, you know, the Dark Knight Joker character that everybody worships. Almost every scene is ripped from The Crow. Yeah, the original Crow is amazing. Don't watch any of the sequels though. The sequels of The Crow are fucking trash. And if you haven't seen The Crow, go watch it. Go watch it. It is one of the best revenge movies ever made. What kind of movie would I write if you got paid money for it? I actually have I kind of lost it at this point. I was writing a script called Deep Red. Deep Red was about Earth like basically failing, and society as a whole had to take a journey across the stars, Sirius B, which is the closest star to us. And they had a starship that was, you know, I think I called it the Setting Sun or something like that, or something poetic. And it would basically talk about the trip to the new planet and well, the trip to the star and finding the planet, which there was going to be a planet that was 100% red like Mars, but it could hold an atmosphere. Well, right. But I'm talking, the fact is Earth is unsustainable. We have to go to another star system. That was the premise of the script. It's supposed to be a sci-fi like action horror. Are you talking about the movie with God, what's his face? What's his name? Who played in the Disney movie? Dennis Quaid. Yeah, that's a good movie though. Hey, Dr. Gray. We already discussed favorite Tarantino movie. Randy Quaid was good in Independence Day, but Independence Day isn't that great. I remember as a kid I was excited about it. It's a good blockbuster film, but let's be real, Independence Day isn't that fucking great. I think you're confusing my script with Armageddon, dude. That's Armageddon. It had Ben Affleck in it and Bruce Willis. Favorite Saw film? The original one. The original Saw film is the only good one, and I stick to that. What's my dream job? Not working.